There's something different when someone comes up to you and they had a legitimate life change. I have people all the time that say, James, I was about to take my life. And then I started to use this product and everything changed for me. And they come up to you with tears in their eyes and they're just like, thank you. You can't put a dollar amount on that type of impact.
James Zheng is a faith-based entrepreneur and speaker who co-founded the Warrior Movement and Kingdom Builders, organizations that train and mentor entrepreneurs. He overcame major financial and personal setbacks before finding his path. His journey from a skeptic who saw network marketing as a scam to a leader in the health and wellness industry is a testament to the power of his faith, which he credits with transforming both his life and business.
It is having freedom in every single area in life that God has promised for us. And the Bible says it all over again.
And how do you think faith plays into that part? James.
Hello.
Hello.
Here we are.
It all started from Asian Hustle Network. It was a Facebook online marketplace where we were connecting Asian entrepreneurs around the world. And then, thank you for being a client of OA.
Yes,
and then here I am in San Diego.
Crazy. Such an honor how God just works all these different things.
Yes.
We're going to dive into a lot today. I'm so excited to be here with you.
Thank you. And I can't wait to really dive into how you got started in your business as well as finding your faith. But before we get started, our segment around show and tell, what do you have there that you can show us?
I have something special here. My wife gave me this gift and I'll show it to the camera here. I think that should work right there. Maybe all three cameras. And it says, to Daddy, now you can carry me to love Jaden.
Yeah.
And what happened was we had a 5-year infertility struggle. Me and my wife, Becky, are super healthy, but it was just a struggle for whatever reason. And it happened to be that I mentioned this off camera, but we were making a trip to Australia. We'd given up at that time. We're like, you know what? We know what's going to happen, but we don't want to try anymore. Let's go see. It happened, my wife was pregnant on that trip. We got back and she was having some weird, symptoms and stuff. We thought she was food poisoned or it was jet lag. Went to the doctor just to get checked out. And we're surprised by that time at this ultrasound, Jaden was 9 weeks already old and she was pregnant and now he's 7 months old today.
Oh my God. What a relief, because I know how many friends out there who also were struggling with, fertility, and it's so stressful.
Yeah.
And this really have tested your faith as well, right? Can you take us back to, that journey of really wanting it? Maybe you had moments where you're doubting God.
100%.
And then, how did all that then happen? Like, I wanted you to deep dive into that. Yeah.
So my wife had a prophetic word. So we went to church. It was the first time. I didn't grow up a person of faith. My wife didn't either. And then we both became Christian in our adult years. And then we also weren't used to the gifts of the Holy Spirit as well. So I got brought to faith in like a Baptist church, so very traditional, very simple. So things like speaking in tongues, all that was like weird stuff to me.
Yeah.
And then the prophetic was really weird. So one day we were in the church lobby and someone just comes up to us and she talks to my wife, Becky, and it's like, I saw that you had 4 children with you. I saw that you were a mother. And then, all these, I'm paraphrasing it, but it just felt like there was so much peace. And we knew that was a word from God. But probably since that word, it was, 10 years. It was a long time. So it's weird when you have a word from God, because it says in the word that the word does not return void. But many times with our goals, it's usually not God's timelines. So literally through that journey, let's just call it 10 years, was such a big faith journey in business, in life, in marriage, in everything, that now looking back, though, God's timing is always right on point. So for example, in the midst of that, a couple things happened. Our first business, we lost everything. And we almost gave up on entrepreneurship. Then we dove deeper into our faith with the Lord, and then we launched our business again. Then our company that we partner with sold, and it went bankrupt, actually. We almost lost everything again. Dove deeper into faith. We had a dream home, almost lost it. And then we were able to get that back. And all these things got us planted back into now San Diego. I grew up here. I went away for college, brought us back here, found a home church, and everything was planted at the right time so that we had the right environment, our finances are way better, our family's around. And then my wife conceived. And I was like, now it makes sense.
So if you had it any earlier, you would have felt that you didn't have everything, ready. The environment wasn't perfect for the baby.
Exactly.
And now you're in a better headspace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now we can spend time. One of my biggest goals personally, and my wife as well too, we wanted to be with our kid. I grew up in a family. My parents, I love them. They're still married. They're close by and everything. But I never really had the relationship with my dad. Asian traditional parents, they don't say they love you. They sniff you. They don't do anything right. So I wanted something completely different. But if it was before, we would have been so stressed out, working all the time. We made, in that time frame, we shifted our business completely online. So we have freedom now and flexibility. So now I'm actually able to be home with Jaden.
Yeah, amazing. And you've got 3 kids more to go.
Yep. We got some work to do.
That's amazing. So take me back to your childhood. You said you were a shy little boy.
Yeah.
You came from China, moved to the US, and you weren't born in a Christian family.
No.
So take us back to a little bit about, your upbringing and how it has molded you into who you are today.
I'm probably a living hypocrisy, meaning everything that I am right now, Christian, I used to I wouldn't say hate Christians, but I used to really look down on them. I thought they were just not intelligent people, for example. I was one of those people. I thought entrepreneurs are all scam artists. And I thought, why are you doing that? I thought network marketing was the worst of the worst. You're doing something illegal, immoral. You're preying on the weak. All of these things, but how God just turns things around is the most fascinating thing. So I grew up super shy. I basically grew up living the Chinese American dream. I went to school. I studied hard. That's all I knew how to do. It brought me to UC Berkeley. And I didn't like who I was because all I could do was study and put it back onto a piece of paper. And to be honest, I got into entrepreneurship not because of wanting to make more money. I wanted to have a girlfriend and a wife one day. And I realized if I'm this shy, I'm not ever going to land the girl, So I loved entrepreneurship because it introduced me to personal development. Found my first network marketing company there, and then started to make a little bit of money. 2.5 years in, I ended up going full-time into entrepreneurship. Actually recruited my second recruit ever in my business, became my top money earner. And actually 4 years later, after I recruited her, became my now wife, Becky. So I literally recruited my wife.
Wow.
Yeah.
So she came through the business side of
things. She
did.
Yeah. Yes.
And so you mentioned she was already a Christian. And when did you become? What was that turning point?
I became a Christian in 2012. So what happened was I achieved what I thought was success. I always just wanted to not work a job. I've only worked 1 9-to-5, 3 months of my life. I hated it. I'm like, this is not for me. So I worked on my network marketing business one summer, made enough where I'm like, I don't need a job anymore. And the most crazy thing is I thought I'd be so happy when I achieved the goal. And I think we hear this all the time, right? We did a podcast right before this and you hear this in the entrepreneurial circle. When I get this, when I achieve this, when I build this, when I have this in the bank account, any single type of circumstantial when and then thinking usually will not bring happiness. So I got that. I quit my job. And I remember one day I woke up and I didn't need my alarm clock anymore. And I'm like, what am I supposed to do with my time? What am I supposed to do with my life? What I realized was I was so busy being busy, I never had time to think about the more important things. And the question that got me stumped, I literally felt like I was depressed, Lynn, for a whole week. I was in bed. I was eating a tub of ice cream. Literally, it was like a heartbreak or something. Because I was so confused. Because I'm supposed to be happy. Why do I feel so miserable? So the question I asked was this: is there such thing as truth with a capital T? And if there was, what is that? And I couldn't find it through science because science is still evolving. I started to look into spirituality for the first time. And then I looked through all of them. I thought all the spiritualities were the same, right? Islam and Buddhism and Christianity and whatever they all just tell you to be a good person, right? And what I realized was there's only one faith that John 14:6 actually is where it says, where Jesus himself, who says he's not a messenger of God, he's not a prophet of God, he's not an enlightened person like Buddha, he is God himself, or he suggests that he is, he proposes that he is. He says in John 14:6, I am the way, the truth, and the life. The only way to the Father is through me. And I felt like God answered a prayer.
Truth, the word truth, yeah.
So I'm like, what if he's right? What if 2 billion plus people in the world, Christians, are right? And if he is the truth, then everything else he is the way. He is the foundation. Because, the reality is this. Let's say there is no truth. Let's say Jesus is not truth. What is truth then? What we realize is you make your own truth, right? We're now in a day and age now where people can say whatever they want, right? Well, because I believe and I feel it, that's true. You can be your true, but truth, 1 + 1 = 2. That's true, right? And that's when I gave my life. It was out of that realization in 2012.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Because when we were younger, we thought all these things sound like, a legend. It wasn't truth. And because sometimes when you read stories from the Bible, it's kind of hard to comprehend.
Yeah.
But what is it that now that you're listening to it, that you go, hang on, this makes a lot of sense? Because for me, I personally try to do life my way, and it was hard, and things always go wrong. And then when you learn some verses in the Bible talking about how God is the ultimate controller, and that everything is by design by God, and then you start to go, oh, hang on, that makes sense because I've lived my life the worldly way.
Yeah.
So what was there anything that you allowed you to see that connection?
Totally. Well, let's talk about the historical stuff first, because I'm a scientist at heart. I'm a skeptic. Like, I ask all those annoying questions about everything. When me and Becky first started dating, I asked her all the weirdest questions of the Bible because I'm very curious and I always want to poke holes in things. So the Bible itself, if you think about Jesus himself, I thought he was just like a legend, right? Just like Buddha's a legend, right? Or, all these people are legend. But no, Jesus is historically a real human being. Multiple religions, including Islam, talk about Jesus. They don't assert that he's God. So you can't say that Jesus was not a real person.
He existed.
Exactly. And I didn't realize that. I'm like, he's not some fairy tale. He's an actual real guy. Then it's like, well, what he said actually true? You also then take a look at the Bible itself. It's 66 books written by 40+ authors over 6,000 years. And to see that there's so much connection and consistency in the entire Bible. You can go from Old Testament to New Testament. Literally, there's ties all the way around. And it's like, it's a book that is just... it's like perfect in that way. It's imperfect too, because there's real stories of real people, but it all ties together. How does that even work? Like, all these things, just even logically speaking, actually back up that the Bible is true, that Jesus was real and everything. And then on the practical side, just trying what the Bible actually says. One success principle is Joshua 1:8. It says that, and this is when Moses passes the baton to Joshua. Joshua goes into the land. God's like, here's your success principle. He says, do not let the book of the law depart from your mouth. Meditate on it day and night and do according to everything that's written in it, and you will make yourself successful and prosperous. So if anyone ever says God doesn't want us to prosper, they have not read the Bible itself, right? But I tried it. And it works. And in fact, it works better than self-development. It works better than any other type of personal development out there. Yeah.
Amazing. Well, I'm glad that we both found our own path in our own ways. So I was also shy.
Really?
And I mean, look at you now. There's no way that someone could believe that you're shy. And
Likewise,
myself.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's a lot of Asians out there that are shy as well. And I'm sure there's people that are aspiring to be entrepreneurs, are all shy. Like, how did you overcome your shyness? What were some of the steps that you took that people can learn from?
For sure. First, I had to be inspired. I had to realize, because I had convinced myself, I'm sure like you as well too, that I am shy. It's an identity. When you identify yourself with something, your reality will never contradict that perceived identity. So I realized first, no, that's not true. Who said you were shy? There's no shy gene. I met a mentor who was shy and became not shy. I'm like, well, if he could do it, I think I could do it as well too. Then from there, well, why is it that we're shy? Well, I'm shy because I'm scared of being judged. I'm shy because I don't know how to communicate. It's actually more of a skill set than anything. And the reality is most of us feel like we might be shy, but if I were to have you talk about something you're passionate about, and usually when someone comes up to me saying, I'm shy, well, like, what do you like? I love cooking. Tell me about cooking. They will lighten up. They'll be super excited. And it's like, well, you're not shy. You just weren't passionate about that topic. You weren't prepared about that topic. So I've realized for most people, it's actually that they are not prepared with what it is that they want to share. Last thing though, and I think it's a kingdom principle, this changed everything for me, because you can, of course, practice, of course, present every day, of course, like talk more, like all those things are important. But I think here's the big secret. Paul says in the Bible that the foolishness of the world confounds the wisdom of the wise. And what that means is this, is as a Christian, if we want to glorify God, it's not about us showing off and being the best and super skilled. And look at me. It's actually in our weakness, he's made strong. It's in our weakness, that's when you're the best. So if you're shy and you want to glorify God, God uses those people the best. And understand that the Holy Spirit, Jesus says, will give us exactly what to say at the right time. All we have to do actually is this, just love them as God loves them. So now this is what I do before any single speech, and it changes the game. It took me from a great presenter to an impactful one. I close speeches all the time, and it's like so fun. Why? I pray every single time beforehand. I'm like, God, you know who your people are. You know, give me the eyes to see, the heart to feel, the mind to understand how it is you feel about them, and give me the right words to say. If you love people, perfect love casts out all fear, everything changes and the right stuff happens all the time.
Wow. So with that prayer, it allows you to not feel nervous anymore, like to kind of just rest it on God and just to let him lead.
Absolutely.
Okay. So, you know, other than the praying, like what are some of the practical skills that you did? Like how did you become such a great communicator?
Absolutely. So I do every day. If you want to get really good at something, you have to do it consistently. So every day I do a live video, for example, and I just get a topic. So one of the biggest things, if someone wants to get good at speaking, what I did, I took a topic and then I broke down 3 points and then I had a close. So here's a simple 5-step framework to make anything impactful and it to make sense. So number 1, have an opening line, have a hook of something. Exactly. Right. So a question or something engages, have 3 points that back up a main point that you have, and then end with some type of call to action. So every day I would take something, I just practice that, whether it's 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 15 minutes or whatever, no matter if no one was watching, just my mom was watching or someone else was watching, and just get really comfortable at being able to speak where you're not thinking about what you're saying, but you're thinking about who you're saying it to.
Yeah.
So yeah, every day, still to this day, I pretty much do a live video every single day.
Those are really great tips. And I think for me as well, when I finally asked myself, what's my purpose? What do I want to do with my life? And I said, I want to make an impact to millions of people. And I'm like, in order to make an impact, I'm going to have to touch the lives of people. People have to hear me. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to get over myself and just be that person that's in front of the camera and make an impact rather than thinking about myself and going, you know, what are they thinking about me? What am I doing? No, it's really about the audience. So that's kind of where I came from. Let's talk about business now. What was it like starting your first business in MLM? Network marketing has a kind of a bad rap. And 100%. So how do you kind of ensure that you really live through that business through a biblical way and you know doing it the business the right way?
So big. I still can't believe I'm in network marketing because when I first heard about it, I'm like, this is a scam, this is a pyramid, this is illegal, this is unethical. I would make fun of people.
Why do you think people think of it that way?
Very simple to why, like, used car salespeople almost have a connotation to that. It's never the actual business or the thing. It's how people unprofessionally do the thing. And then biggest
it's kind of very easy to get in. It's low barrier of entry. So everyone jumps in and there's a lot more of,
Exactly. And human nature naturally, and I think that's a biblical worldview. I think the world almost teaches us sometimes, this is at least what I thought. I thought people are naturally good. Right. Which I think it's like I have always positive outlook on people. But the truth is, actually, we're not good. We have a tendency to go completely away from God. You never have to teach your kids how to steal, how to lie, how to be selfish, right? So the truth is, human nature is counter to professional business, which is serving and helping people, or biblical business in that sense. So when you have a lot of people doing something that are naturally going to do it in a negative way, that's going to lead to a bad connotation. And negative typically does stick itself. But really, it's lack of proper training. That's really what it is. So when I finally got over that understanding or misrepresentation of network marketing, I just looked at the business model. It's a distribution channel. You can sell stuff. You can train teammates to sell stuff. That's it, right? There's nothing wrong with it.
And you follow a system that's created already for you.
Exactly. You should, hopefully. Hopefully. Find a good system or create one. When I finally realized that, I'm like, and I remember I made this commitment right away. I said, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this morally ethically, and legitimately. Those 3 words back when I was 19 years old, and I wasn't even a person of faith by then, but to this day, those are still my standards in anything in life, whether it's outsourcing angel or any business, you might be in real estate, it doesn't matter. If you commit to those standards, then you're going to do things well. So yeah, had to start with that.
And tell me more about your current business now. What are the products? I was given as a gift. I can't wait to try. I would love you to share a little bit about it.
You're going to love so much. So the main product that we sell now, we have a ton of them, but now it's known as these like skinny drops. So they make you skinny.
Yeah, who wouldn't want to be skinny?
Exactly. But they double your weight loss. And the way that it does it, and I'm not just about weight loss. We talked about this in the car, which I loved. But there's a really bad culture right now about weight loss, diet, stuff like that. 98% of people on diets regain their weight and more within 2 years, actually. So what's cool about these, they're homeopathic, they're natural, they're plant-based. Put them in tongue 3 times a day. But the ingredients actually target the root of the issue of why we don't just gain weight, but why we're anxious, why we struggle with a lot of things like insomnia, digestion. Our hormones are imbalanced because of our life and what we don't eat and what we do eat and all that type of stuff. So ingredients in this balance that. So your cravings go down, your digestion gets better, your energy gets better, your anxiety gets less. And if you do want to lose weight, you double your weight loss. So I lost 11 kilos in 40 days or 25 pounds in 40 days. And for the past 12, 13 years, we've helped thousands of people around the world, all shapes, all sizes, everything, be able to still do that.
So is there a reason why you're so passionate about, I guess, the health industry? Because your first business was in USANA, which is a health product, and you're still to this day still in the health space.
There's something different about, because now I can make money in so many different ways. I can coach, I can, do any business, because when you learn the skills, you can be successful in it. There's something different when someone comes up to you and they had a legitimate life change. I have people all the time that say, James, let's say I was taking like 5 pharmaceutical drugs, or I was diabetic, overweight, and I was so down on myself, or I was about to take my life. And then I started to use this product and everything changed for me. And they come up to you with tears in their eyes and they're just like, thank you. You can't put a dollar amount on that type of impact, because when you transform someone's health, it doesn't just impact them, it impacts their family, it impacts their community, it impacts their impact. If we don't have our health, it doesn't matter how much money we have in the bank, like none of that really matters. So I love the tangible effect that it has. And I love how it's also such a big issue these days as well, too, everywhere in the world, lack of health. So to this day, it's still just a strong draw. Even if I don't get paid, I'd love to just transform people in that way.
And what is it about network marketing that you still love to this day?
I love that question. You're
still passionate about it.
So I asked the Lord, because we did lose almost all of our business in 1 year in 2017. I was 27 years old at that time. And that's when I had my rock bottom experience, like 95%.
Are you able to go in a little bit about, why you lost it? Yeah.
So what happened, we had a very slow, we're always like gradual, slow and steady, grew it, built a multiple 6-figure business. Everything was good until it wasn't. Number one issue, over leveraged on money. We bought the wrong things, honestly. Right? We bought into the lie that you have to look good and have the lifestyle and all that. Should have. By the way, you have to hear the other podcast we just did, because we talked about productivity, but should have delegated and all that type of stuff. So number one, over leveraged. But number two, it's just that things happen in business, things happen in life, unexpected storms for which we weren't prepared for. So some change happened in the company that seemed really small, but by the time that we recognized the impact, we lost 50% of our income, 95% of our team was lost. We built it on a not strong foundation. In hindsight, I would say that the way that we treated our people was maybe more transactional. It wasn't as relational. I was kind of cold. I could have been more friendly. I could have developed more loyalty and trust and all that, but you don't know when times are good, right? So by the time we recognized all of that, we lost almost everything. We moved out of our dream home, had to sell everything, moved back into my mother-in-law's converted office turned bedroom, and I felt like an absolute failure and fraud. And that really tested my value. What value am I? I truly believe that outside of God, that's the best answer, right? Remember, Jesus is the Son of God. He is unlimited in value, and he considered you and I and everyone so valuable. He died for us. So if anyone has any issues about value, I learned that day. So I'm like, all right, I'm happy. It doesn't matter how much money in the bank. I'm good. But then I asked the question, should I go back into network marketing? well, why this? I can do so many other things. And when I asked the Lord the question, I felt like it is the most tangible way to be able to bring his good news into the world. If you think about how Jesus built the church, he had 12 disciples and he trained them and he sent them out 2 by 2 to start to expand the message. Network marketing is the exact same. It's a compensation plan wrapped around personal growth. And it's the most tangible, boots on the ground, person-to-person development industry that there is. And I love that because I feel like I have the most tangible impact on the most people possible.
Yeah, that's amazing. And this is where it led you to do something called the Warrior Movement.
Yes.
Is that right? Tell us a little bit about that.
So when we were relaunching our business, I felt like we needed to have a theme or a mantra or some type of a mission. And I realized that I needed to rebuild myself because I could do the work, but I needed to work on me first. So I realized that you have to work on your spirit first. You have to work on your body. You have to work on your mind. You have to work on you before you can work on your business because your business is an extension of you. And the theme was to unleash your inner warrior inside. And now fast forward, that has been such a recurring theme still in my life. I think each and every single one of us, we're born with that element literally in our spiritual DNA. We're fighters. We're born more than conquerors. We're born as warriors specifically. And that is now oozed into our team and organization still.
Well, tell us a little bit about your podcast as well. You know, what is it about? I know we had one, but I'll get you to share about that.
Absolutely. So the Kingdom Builders podcast came out of another time. I think the theme is anytime that we have struggles, typically that's when God shows up and we learn something big, right? So a couple of years ago, we lost almost everything again. So now life was getting better. And then we're about to buy our dream home in San Diego. And then as we got the home, we lost our, as we got the ability to buy the home, we lost our investment in a crypto investment gone bad. Like I haven't seen that much.
Let's pause there and go, in that moment, what was your communication with God? What were you saying to him? How did you get through that?
Totally. I think the first question is like, what the heck, God? Like, what is going on? I'm doing everything right. I'm a faithful tither. Like, what is this going to happen, you know? But I think God really spoke through Becky that day. Because Becky's usually the more finance-driven person. She's the one that does all the spreadsheets and the tracking and all that. So my biggest fear at the time was like, what's my wife going to say? How is she going to feel? Because I caught the news first. I remember bringing it up to her, and basically her response was, it's just money. It's going to be okay. And I'm like, oh my gosh, God is working on her. Because before her spiritual development, she would have gone crazy. That would have been ridiculous in itself. So fear at first, then faith, and then seeking for understanding in that. And it's like, God, I know there's some type of lesson. I know that you've given us a word for this home. I know it will happen somehow. But it's out of my control, and now it's in your control itself too. So that's what I was saying to him at the time. So no answer. But I guess that weird faith is a weird feeling. Where it doesn't make sense.
It's only when we don't get what we want is when we really need to have faith.
Shouldn't we have that all the time though? Life would be so much better.
Well, sorry, I cut you as you were talking about your podcast. So continue.
So we're at that place for like, all right, so God, I'm listening. I got time now. What do you want? And the question, I'd submit this for everybody, right? Because I think the worst failure in life is if you climb up the ladder of success and you're on the wrong wall and you realize you climbed the wrong one, right? So I asked God, I said, God, all right, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. That means you have an assignment for me. What's the best way that I can expand your kingdom on earth with the way that you've designed me? What is that thing? And usually it is disguised. The answer to that is disguised around a problem or a challenge or something that really bothers you. And the thing that bothered me was now coming as a person of faith. I love learning. I love personal development. I'm always listening to podcasts. I'm like, I'm a learning fiend. But I realized in personal development, it all basically says the same thing, but it leaves God out of it. And kingdom principles work whether you believe in Jesus or not, because principles are principles. You give and you will receive, for example, right? You serve and it's going to gain you influence. But they also do work better with the king in them as well, too. And it's almost robbing God of the glory. So I was like, man, where is this stuff out there? Aside from someone like Rabbi Daniel Lapin, which we were talking about, there really wasn't much Christian or kingdom business success principles out there. So I'm like, where is it, God? And I felt him say, I want you to fill in that gap. I'm like, really? I don't know anything. I'm not a scholar on the Bible. Like, what is this all about? So I started diving into the Bible, everything about success. And then I started interviewing people that were doing amazing things in entrepreneurship as Christians. And that to this day has led us to where we are now.
Yeah, it looks like we've gone through the same thing, not a Christian, became a Christian, and now kind of trying to bridge the gap between the worldly success with Christianity. And that's exactly what I've done on this channel. I was like, what is it that I want to do to really serve the world? And I was like, that calling around Christianity and business. So talk about this question too, like how do you navigate that tension between worldly success and that desire for success with the Bible, with God, living God's way?
Totally. Absolutely. So it's very interesting because I think many times we think that having desire or interest or ambition is not a biblical thing. But it's actually the most biblical thing. God was very ambitious, if you think about it. He created the whole universe. He was a
creator.
Absolutely. Yeah. We're most like him. We're most like a creator when we're creating. So it's born in our actual spiritual DNA to bring these things to pass. Like God put us into work. Work is a biblical thing, right? Adam was put in the garden. He didn't have to work. But God has this interesting thing where he chose to partner with his children to actually do good work, right? It says in the New Testament that Jesus was able to give us a workmanship, right? We have a workmanship to do something that was designed just for us. So we're made to work, but not just to work for anything, but to work to bring his goodness and his goals into earth to give him the glory. So to go back to your question, it's okay to have ambition. It's important to ambition. I'd actually submit there's no way to glorify God if we're not ambitious, because if we serve a big God, shouldn't we have big godly goals? I call it a God-sized dream, So we should have big dreams. We should be the biggest dreamers in business, in our family, in our finances, in our faith, and everything. But the intention now has to be key. The intention, the world says, dream big so you can feel fulfilled, basically. Dream big so you can prove a point. Dream big so you can make a lot of money. Cool. Those are okay by itself. But aside and outside of priority of God, which is I want to dream big because I serve a big God. I want to dream big because when I accomplish this, I know I can't do it, but he can do it. He's going to bail me out on this. That's going to glorify him. If that's our intention, God wants to bless it all day because he's a jealous God. He wants people to know him in that sense. So intention, I think, is key.
Well said. I love that. Well, as we had to wrap up a little bit earlier because I have a train to catch.
Gotta catch that for sure.
I want us to go back to, I guess, the title of this podcast is Faith to Freedom. What does faith and freedom mean to you?
It's crazy that you bring that up. First of all, freedom, it actually says it right here.
Can you believe it? This is Eagle of Freedom.
I know.
It's meant to be.
Every year, I like to prophesy over the year, and I have a word for that, right? Last year was a year of miracles, and that's when our baby Jaden was born and all these different things. This year was freedom, actually.
Wow.
It's literally. And what is freedom then? Well, the only way that there is freedom is first having our identity with the person that paid for our freedom. So it's first understanding our identity in Christ. And when we understand that, then it's understanding, well, what did he pay for? Because he did pay for our freedom. It wasn't free for him, but we were able to get that out of grace, right? So it's not just salvation, though, of course, which is already by itself an amazing freedom in itself. How about freedom from anxiety? Living in a way where we are never stressed out. How about freedom from poverty or lack? We were never meant to be in lack and impoverished. How about freedom from control or freedom from judgment or freedom from any jealousy? Just all these things that are not kingdom principles. Entire freedom, you described as 360-degree success. It is having freedom in every single area in life that God has promised for us. And the Bible says it all over again. So that's the want that I have, not just for my life, but everyone I encounter now in business and life. I'm like, how can they be more free in any area that there is?
And how do you think faith plays into that part?
Faith is an evidence of things not seen. So faith is believing it even when you don't see it. Faith is believing, and not just faith itself, though. This is where New Age gets it weird. New Age philosophy says, if you believe it enough, and you visualize enough, you're going to get it, which there's some principles in that as well too, of course. Faith is not in a thing or a feeling, it's in a person. Yeah. And when our faith is in Jesus, in his identity, in his character, this is how we can actually be bold dreamers, for example. Because if we know that God does not lie and God's word does not return void, if I believe that about Jesus and he gave me a word about my family, about baby Jaden, about my business, about the house, about anything, then I believe not because I feel it or want it, I believe because Jesus said it. And if he said it, he's going to do it. Yeah. So faith is in a person itself.
And just trust in his timing.
Yes. Yes.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much, James, for this amazing opportunity to speak with you. And you've got so much biblical knowledge that I'm learning so much from. Where do people connect with you?
Absolutely. Everywhere I'm online, James C. Zheng, Zheng. You can find me on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. You can go to jamesczheng.com. I have a free course. So through that time, I was diving into the Bible and what does it mean to succeed in business God's way? So I actually kind of stripped a new age philosophy. Do you know Bob Proctor?
Yeah, definitely.
Love him. He's cool. I took a $40,000 masterclass from him. Great stuff, but it's not exactly biblical. So I took what was working there and then I brought it back to the Bible. And basically recreated the program, but biblical, essentially. Nice. And that's transformed my life. So I put that all, and it's for free if you just go to my website and grab that.
Wonderful. Now, actually, I want you to just answer the last question, which is, if someone's watching this and they're feeling that fear and they're not, they want to take that leap to whatever the venture is, whether it's starting a business or, diving into that new relationship, what's your word of encouragement to them?
Perfect love casts out all fear. So if you feel any fear, that means that we're not feeling loved at that moment. What does it actually mean in relation to your question then? One of the biggest things to understand is in that moment, just rest on your relationship in the Father and allow him to start loving you. His love unlocks all of his gifts and all of his goals and all of his anointings on you. So you just sit there and I'm just like in worship and I'm just like, God, you're a loving Father. You love me. You sent your one and only son to die for me. And just continue to settle there and just let him love you. Our first job in this world is actually just to be loved by our Father. And then we extend our love out to other people. The more that we do that, then it'll actually counter that fear. And all of a sudden, even psychologically, you go from fight or flight mode into creative mode. So then you're actually able to get out into creative space. And then you're able to make bold, risky decisions, faith-filled decisions, actually. So start there until you get to that state and then see what happens afterwards.
Amazing. You have a great way of communication. You're definitely not shy anymore. So thank you so much, James, for the time today.
Thank you so much.